Welcome to the Ben Buzz. I'm Benny King, and we had a very interesting week two of college football. We had a lot of interesting games, not too many ranked matchups like week one. We did end up having one matchup, and then we still had a huge upset in South Florida. We'll get to that one later. And once again, Jack will be joining the program for this breakdown. Thanks for joining, Jack.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, of course, man. And this is going to be what your fourth appearance on the show now. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's been great. I'm happy to do any time. So yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that.
hmm
Now, as we go into this, we had Kennesaw State at number 22, Indiana. Indiana had a rough start last week against Old Dominion. Didn't go that great. They won comfortably, but it didn't exude much confidence for us to put in the team. But they definitely brought that confidence back this week, where they took them out 56-9. It was a very impressive rebound for Indiana after a game that they did win, but definitely lowered their stock a little bit. But they definitely responded with the 56-9 win, Jack.
Yeah, very impressive win. And they've climbed even higher in the ranks.
Hmm.
Now they're number 22. So yeah,
Yes.
very impressive win.
Hmm.
I know it's against an unranked team, a team that isn't very good, but and that's why they only climbed not very much. So we'll see
Right.
what the year comes to. So yeah.
Right, and then they're still getting, their new quarterback Mendoza situated, so maybe it just took a minute, some growing pains from that, perhaps, but, they're still lucky that they didn't lose a game in that growing stretch. We'll see how they do going forward with Mendoza as their QB. Then we had San Jose State University at, number 7 Texas. Now, Texas really needed a rebound, had a very, ugly and unfortunate loss against, Ohio State where both offenses didn't do that great. It was a really a defensive game, and I think Arch Manning really needed this for his confidence. And I had said it kind of on my previews. This is the game that they would have wanted him to start with. They would have wanted this home against an unranked opponent against a team they know they're going to blow out, so he can really get his confidence up. How'd you feel about this one, Jack?
Yeah, it was very good. He looked so much better. And it was interesting because a lot
Mhm.
of other teams started out with unranked opponents that they could just dog walk easily.
Right,
Um, but it was, yeah, very good to get his confidence back up. And he looked very, very
right,
poised in the pocket, had a lot more time to throw.
right,
And yeah, very, very good for him.
right. And Texas's defense has certainly been very stout.
For sure.
Then next we had an interesting matchup. We had Kent State at number 21 Texas Tech. Now, I mean Texas Tech, their out of conference schedule is not great. They blew them out 62-14. They did the same thing against Arkansas Pine Bluff last week. Hasn't been too impressive where they just kind of dog walk. I mean, they're not scheduling the most toughest of opponents, and especially with Arizona State dropping that game against Mississippi State, all of a sudden the conference is pretty wide open. It kind of was before, but Iowa State is certainly kind of having that top spot. But Texas Tech has been lurking, and they're not going away anytime soon. They're ranked 21 in the country, and they had a very another very impressive win, Jack.
Yeah, very impressive win. I was happy with Texas Tech for sure. Absolutely.
Hmm.
Yeah, they look great.
Yeah, 100%. And then we had number 9 Illinois at Duke. Now, this was an interesting matchup because Illinois was obviously supposed to win. They're a top team in the country. But what was very interesting about this game is Duke's head coach Manny Diaz was the defensive coordinator at Penn State. And he's played Luke Altmaier in these Fighting Illini of Illinois in the past. And he's made Luke Altmaier look very bad. He made him play his worst, I believe it's his worst career in his college career here when they played his Penn State defense. So it was very interesting going to this one. This was a very obvious upset pick. Not only is that huge with Manny Diaz and how he's able to scheme and he knows how to make Luke Altmaier's live tricky, but also Duke was home. And I had kind of touched on this in my preview, but I said, you know what, I've been talking about Illinois all year, and I really had confidence in them going into it, and they did take care of business. I was very happy they were able to do that. 45-19, Jack. It was an impressive performance, especially with a guy who's been able to have Luke Altmaier's number in the past, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, he looked great. I mean, it was a big test for him, for sure, and Illinois as a whole, because
Right,
this was I know their schedule is on the easy side, but this was absolutely one of the tougher games
right,
this season. And
Right.
this
Yeah.
absolutely, I understand when you say easy upset pick, but they looked very good on the road, and he's absolutely one of the best players in college football, Luke
Right.
Altmaier. So it was a very like get back win. Um, and yeah, he looked great.
Right. Yeah, 100%. And with their top two games, with number 22 Indiana and then number one Ohio State, number 22 Indiana, that could start to get trickier if Indiana continues to improve. But as long as they split those games, I think they should have no problem making it into the playoff. Then we had the Cyhawk game in Iowa at Iowa State. Now, this one was unfortunate for the Hawkeyes. Rocco Beck played pretty well for Iowa State, not up to his usual standards. He had 3 touchdowns a game coming into this one, but I mean, just putting up the stats that he did against that Iowa defense was very impressive. 135 yards and a touchdown. Iowa State certainly looked like a playoff team, and with Arizona State falling out now, they might even they're actually unranked now, which is surprising. Just losing once and go from 11 to just gone, that's pretty crazy. But Iowa State, the door is open for them, and I think they're gonna go in. Jack, what do you think?
I mean, yeah, the door is certainly open. I would, I don't know if I would put them that high. I mean, because they could have easily lost that game against the Hawkeyes. It was very like down to the wire. Um, but good win for Texas. I mean, for
Right.
Iowa State as a whole.
Right. And their schedule is going to lighten up. They've kind of had a tough go at it because they had number 17 Kansas State in that Farmageddon matchup. Then they had the huge Cyhawk matchup. Some very huge rivalries that they were very lucky to come out on the winning side of each. And then going forward, I mean, Arkansas State, Arizona, Iowa State, Colorado, like a lot of their schedule, they're kind of just going to blow right through. Arizona State, BYU, Kansas could still be problems, but nothing really too concerning. And if Iowa State is certainly the team that we think they are, I don't think they're going to have much difficulty getting through a lot of that schedule. And I feel like they could end up. I mean, there might be some of those rivalry games where they slip up, but I think they could very much come out of this conference undefeated, Jack.
Yeah, I think they could. That's still a tough conference for sure. But they have
Right.
been beating some tough opponents so far this season. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what they do from here on out, and then see if the Hawkeyes are able to rebound with UMass next week, but Iowa has a bit of a tough schedule. They still have Indiana, Penn State, and Oregon to play, so it's going to be tough sledding for them. Then we had Florida Institute at number 2 Penn State. What are we doing, Penn State? It's going to be 3 games in a row where they've scheduled such an easy game for no reason. They scheduled Nevada, which they beat by 30. Sure, they beat Florida Institute by 30 points. I mean, fine. And then next week they're playing Villanova, where it's like you're really not getting anywhere with these games. And as we kind of talked about in the last episode, Jack, how we kind of appreciate the 12-team playoff for opening the door for more open-ended scheduling, and we kind of commended um, Michigan because they scheduled Oklahoma last week. We commended Ohio State because they scheduled the preseason top number 1 team. But then you look at the other member of that big three in the Big Ten, and they're scheduling nobodies, Jack. It's like they don't want to risk it because they know they don't play well in those matchup games, Jack.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to judge how good Penn State is as a team, because they haven't moved at all. They've stayed
Mm.
number 2, and they haven't played anyone yet. So, I mean, it's interesting that they picked those games. I guess they're really still afraid to lose. Um, but I think
I
like
know.
it's still they're not learning anything, and it's when they if they drop some like games against harder teams, I mean, you're gonna go back to this and be like, well, you really, I mean, is Drew Aller learning anything? I mean, he's great, but it's I don't know. We'll just have to see.
Right. It's like they're so worried about losing in those types of matchups that they're doing everything to
Yeah,
avoid them.
for sure.
Yeah, and I don't think they're a bad team. I certainly think that they could go on to do big things in this season, but they're really not testing themselves. And coming off of this 3 game stretch after they play Villanova this week, then they go into Oregon. It's like, well, they're going to be so unprepared for that game. So, be very interesting game there. Then we got East Texas A&M at number 10 Florida State. Very awesome to have a number next to Florida State again. Very impressive rebound for them. And I mean, they blew the doors off of East Texas A&M 77-3. So I mean, Florida State did great. And they showed that they're here to stay, and they only built off their incredible week one. Wasn't as impressive because it wasn't as great of a quality win. But if you're putting up 77 points, you're just yelling for like you want to be put on notice. They want to tell the league, hey, we're here to stay. It's a very impressive week by them.
I mean, yeah, absolutely, and it's nice to see that they're actually in the top 10 for this week's top 25. I
Right,
mean, they looked great. I mean, they looked great last week too against
right,
Alabama. Um, but man, this team is fireworks, and it'd be great if they just keep this up for sure. Yeah.
right. I hope so as well. And Castellanos and Mike Norvell, they're really doing great things over there at Florida State. Be interesting if they end up contending for the ACC championship. Then we had that game you were touching on earlier, Utah State and Texas A&M. I'm really not sold on Texas A&M. They won, but honestly, I don't like them next week against Notre Dame. I don't like them against like-minded opponents, especially when they get into that SEC schedule. They didn't have any problems against Utah State, but I kind of thought maybe they would have issues with looking ahead, but I didn't pick against them, and they did pretty well, Jack.
Right, right. Sorry again about that. There's a lot of Texas
Oh, you're good.
teams out
Yeah,
there. Um,
I know. Just doing random stuff with the
right, right,
yeah. Well, we just had East
right.
Texas A&M,
And then the
like
first
East
one you
Texas
mentioned
A&M.
against Kent State,
Right,
Texas Tech. So yeah, I mean Texas
right,
A&M, they looked great, but Utah State's not. I mean they got a touchdown early, but then it really just
right.
was all Aggies after that. So yeah,
Yeah, definitely. I don't have much optimism with them going forward, especially against Notre Dame last week. Be interesting to see how that plays out this Saturday. Then we had Austin Pay at number six Georgia. Georgia really hasn't played anybody yet. They had that week one game against Marshall, and they were already going to blow out Marshall, but then Marshall's head coach and a lot of their players, Charles Huff, the head coach, they all fled to Southern Miss. So Marshall ended up getting gutted in the offseason through the transfer portal. So they already weren't going to contend. So Georgia just had an easy
hmm
one to schedule there, and then Austin Pay just like they're like that's another team where it's like, what are we doing? I understand that the SEC schedule is tough, but like you get nothing from that.
yeah. I mean this is what we touched on with Penn State. I mean yeah,
Right.
and this was um,
100%. Yeah.
definitely closer than this and Louisiana Tech versus
Right.
LSU, both closer games. Surprisingly, not like what we just said, Florida State, that one, and then Ohio State against Grambling, which you'll touch on later. But yeah, surprisingly closer. I
Right.
mean, it's hard to judge how good Georgia is too. And this upcoming matchup against Tennessee will be the test for that. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, 100%. And Georgia hasn't had much tests going into that one where Tennessee hasn't really either, but they played Syracuse and did very well. So I have a lot of optimism. I think Tennessee might have a good chance there. Now on to Grambling State at Ohio State. I mean, once again, another team dropping 70 to
right.
be like, hey, look at us. Don't forget about us. Ohio State. They definitely wanted to air it out, and they definitely wanted to say, hey, like we know our QB didn't do that great against Texas, but he's here and he's here to stay. Over 300 yards, four touchdowns on the ground. They had 108 yards and a touchdown. Like they look great, and I know it's Grambling State, but their head coach, the head coach of Grambling State, was he was the wide receiver coach who coached up Justin Jefferson, Jamar
Really?
Chase, all those guys. He was part of the recruiting class that brought in Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. Even though he ended up leaving before he could really train up those guys, but he was a part of the recruiting and just the wide receiver coach there.
Wow.
So
Okay.
yeah, it's very Grambling State. I mean, they didn't do that great, but I mean, there wasn't much they could have done in this matchup, especially an Ohio State team that was really trying to get the offense situated. So they really just took it out on them and really just killed them,
Yeah,
Jack.
they did absolutely. I mean, Julian Sand looked like a Heisman contender for sure. I mean, any of the top
Right.
teams is going to look like that against Grambling, but Yeah, I mean, this is really like, let's just see what we have here, see what they can do fully, like weapons out, because they really didn't really get to see that against Texas because their defense is just so good. But
Right.
yeah, I hope they got what they needed because man,
Yeah.
it's just yeah, embarrassing when you lose that bad. Yeah.
I know. Yeah, but that's what they should be doing against these lower ranked teams is really testing things out. But they shouldn't purely play those types of games like Penn State is doing.
Hmm.
And a good yeah, another good team that's kind of doing that as well was Texas, where they have this rebound game where they're getting the offense situated, but they weren't afraid to schedule that kind of top team. And it feels like Penn State, I know they don't want to lose, but when all the teams around you are doing it, it feels like you're just scared.
Right, for sure. I mean, LSU did the same thing. Clemson, for sure, they did similar
Right.
thing.
Right. Right. I give them the pass because it's like out of those three out of conference games, as long as you choose one, that's a little difficult. But if you're going soft on all of
Yeah,
them, you know?
for sure, for sure. I mean, yeah, this is the biggest test is for Penn State against Oregon. That's going to be what we're going to find the most answers
Right.
from because we really don't know about either team. I
Right.
mean, Oregon really hasn't played anyone either, so that's going to be interesting.
No. Yeah, no. Yeah, 100%. And that Grambling State head coach, where he was asked about Jeremiah Smith, about back at his LSU days, he said he would have been in the lineup for sure with guys like Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase. I mean, Ohio State always brings in great
Hmm.
recruits. Not only Jeremiah Smith, who was huge last year, and he certainly would have been drafted like very early. And a lot of people like were surprised. They're like, "Oh, like they didn't realize how young he was. Like he actually has to go back." Huge for Ohio State that they have a guy that's so proven like that they get for another year. That's huge. And then Carnell Tate that they brought in, he's also very great as well. And even a guy like Emeka Ibuka, who was kind of like thought of as like a backup to like Jeremiah Smith, now he's catching a bunch of touchdowns in the NFL. So I mean, Ohio State is such a machine when it comes to wide receivers. It's so unfair, Jack.
I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, uh, I know Chris Olave was also went there, so they're kind of like, and
Right.
I know Ruggs also did.
He was Alabama.
Oh, was he okay?
Yeah.
They're both Alabama and Ohio State. They're
Yeah.
both great
Well, yeah.
at
Ohio State was
bringing great wide receiver
yeah,
recruits.
Marvin Harrison Jr., Garrett Wilson, Chris
Right,
Olave,
right,
Jackson Smith and
right.
Jigba. Yeah.
Now Buka, yeah,
Yeah, a
very
lot
good.
of great wide receivers coming out of Ohio State. No problems against Grambling State. We'll see how it goes for them going forward. Then we had another awkward one, Jack. East Tennessee State took on number 15 Tennessee, and they just showed up to get murdered, basically, 72-17. That was very. There's a couple of these where the team just puts up a bunch of points just to like, hey, look what we did. It's like, geez, like that's not right.
Yeah, I know. And Tennessee jumped really far in the rankings, which was surprising to me. They were number 22 and now they're number 15.
Right.
I don't know why they jumped that high.
Right. They didn't do anything
Um,
that qualified for it other than beating the teams that they were supposed to because they really haven't beaten
right.
anybody because Syracuse wasn't that great. And they won comfortably. Syracuse almost like got back into the game later, but it was never in question. And then East Tennessee State, sure, you won by a lot, but that's not impressive. It really just feels like
No.
SEC bias and an
Yeah.
excuse for College Game Day to go there for sure because they definitely should not be there.
Right. They should absolutely still be in the 20s. I
Right.
don't understand. I mean, I would
Right.
I would take every team above them in the 20 to 16 spot.
Oh,
Um,
100%. Well, they were ranked
100%.
number 24. What has really changed other than some teams maybe,
Yeah, I don't get why they're number 15.
right. And you can say that
That's
they jumped some teams
seems
that
too high.
lost, but that doesn't account for 9 spots at random.
Right. And like I would have Georgia. I mean, I mean, I you can't really judge any both of those teams because Georgia really hasn't played anyone in Tennessee either.
Right.
But Georgia always beats Tennessee. It's just well, always what happens. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, when
Mhm.
uh when Michigan lost just recently, they were like 13th or 14th in the country. They dropped all the way down to 23. going behind a Tennessee team that hasn't played anybody. And I mean, number 20 Utah. Utah's been impressive all year, and they've been dominating teams that they were supposed to be close with, notably UCLA that they just destroyed. I don't know how Tennessee found a way. I don't know how they found a way to get this high in the rankings, Jack. It doesn't make sense.
Right, I know. I don't know if they're just really against Big 12 teams or against non-SEC teams because Utah was completely unranked going into the season,
Right,
and yeah, it's just I don't understand.
right,
Um, but I guess this is better for other conference teams because they have more of a chip on their shoulder, and
right.
I just hope these SEC teams who getting ranked way too high, they just lose. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, well, that's what they've been doing so far, and they're even hurting their own conference
yeah,
here because Texas A&M and Ole Miss have been ranked above Tennessee all season. Both have played nobody. Both have no justifications for the ranking. It's just like, well, they think that's how good they are, right? And Tennessee hasn't played anybody of note, anybody to require this much of a jump. So even if, like with the SEC bias, how are they jumping Ole Miss and Texas A&M when none of them have done anything? How are you having that justification? They were just number 24. How did they jump both of them? It really is just because they're about to play Georgia and they want to have a top 15
yeah,
win for Georgia on their
right,
resume. And as we've been talking about, an excuse for College Game Day to go there because they absolutely should not. And then you look at a team like South
right.
Florida, who has the best resume in the country. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe they're the only team with two ranked wins on their resume, right, Jack? I think so.
They are. They're the only
Yeah,
team with 2 ranked ones this
they
year,
should
and,
be.
yeah, College Game Day should have absolutely been in Miami. Yeah,
Right,
it's and South Florida should be way higher. I would
right.
have them above Clemson for sure.
Right. I mean,
Um,
there's no excuse for them being
right, I mean,
behind
they
Tennessee. Yeah.
they've gotta be I would have them above South Carolina too. They gotta be way higher. I
Right.
mean, come on.
I know.
That team looks great. I mean, and beating
Right.
13 Florida, which they got ranked way too high.
Right.
Um, because
Well,
I don't know how they got
yeah.
just after beating Long
Yeah.
Island, I don't know how you get ranked that high.
Well, they
That's
were
SEC
no,
bias
no,
as well,
no. Well,
but
well, Florida, they were ranked already that high before the season started. That's just kind of where they were.
were they? Okay.
Yeah, they didn't really they moved up 2 spots, but only because teams like Alabama lost, so they just went up a little bit.
Right.
Not
Okay.
because of their
That's yep.
performance really. But yeah,
Mhm.
honestly, it's really upsetting when like a team like South Florida where you can make excuses for that first week game. Okay, Boise State was a pretender. They weren't really that great. They didn't deserve to be ranked. They were just ranked because they were in the playoff, right? But when they win that, like when they have that crazy of a win, that blowout of a win against a ranked team, and then they were left unranked. So then they go, okay. Then they went in hungry against Florida. And they won that game with that field goal, 18-16, and really kind of controlled it in the swamp, which the swamp is one of the toughest places to play. And they went in there and won it.
Yeah.
Where you talk about a
Yeah.
hungry team where it's like, okay, what has Ole Miss done lately? What is Texas A&M? What is Tennessee? How are you justifying this?
Right. And I would also say the same thing for teams like Kansas State or Baylor not getting picked over like Alabama and Missouri. Um, those are the other teams that should absolutely be there, especially Baylor,
Yeah,
who just beat
no,
SMU, who was number
Baylor.
18.
Yeah, Baylor's an interesting one because they did beat SMU, but they lost to Auburn, and honestly, that loss, Baylor beating SMU, really helps Auburn because that almost gives them like a great win. That's kind of why I think they snuck in, not only because of SEC,
Yeah.
but also now all of a sudden Baylor beats a ranked team. They're like, well, Auburn beat Baylor, so then they sneak them in there. I mean, you can go through this ranking and find so many instances of SEC bias, though. Like 11 South
You
Carolina.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's really
Yeah.
weird. And even dissing on
Right.
like
And I
yeah,
think like if Miami loses against South Florida, which I think is a possibility,
right.
they're probably gonna drop way lower than they should. Um,
Right. Well, they might just drop them out.
and like
Right.
right, and if South Florida loses, absolutely they're out. But like if Alabama loses against Florida State, oh, we'll keep them at 19.
Yeah, well
Um,
they did fall to 23, I think. But yeah.
right, and then they beat the nobody
Well,
by
and then
we'll get
well,
to it,
then
we'll
once
get to
yeah,
it. Let's just move on.
well, it's like they suffer the repercussions instantly, but after the week pass and after people start to forget about it, they slowly sneak them back up there like we forgot that they got absolutely embarrassed, you know?
Right,
Right.
right,
So,
for sure, like
honestly, yeah,
yeah.
I really hope South Florida wins, and I think this is definitely gonna be a great chip on their shoulder as they continue to get disrespected. And even, like, there's several instances where the
Mhm,
ranking's just wrong. And even against, like, SEC
I
where
know.
they're kind of, hurting a new SEC team where Oklahoma's 2-0, South Carolina's 2-0, Oklahoma just beat Michigan, who was a top 13, 14 team in, the country. South Carolina hasn't done anything yet. Why is there separation there? Why is Oklahoma 2 spots behind them? And like, I feel like there's a lot of the list like that, and I hope they get better with the
Mhm,
rankings, and over the weeks, I think it will get better,
mhm.
and honestly, with this college game day debate, Miami had a great game against Notre Dame week 1. I understand why college game day doesn't go there. It's Lee Corso's last one. He's most known for picking Ohio State. That was the first one he ever picked. Number 1 versus number 3, I get it.
Mhm.
But why don't you pay that back and then go back to Miami when there's a great what really should be a matchup of 2 top 15 teams? Not Tennessee. Tennessee is not a top 15 team. Stop it. This
They're
is
not.
stupid.
They're not.
You're just doing this so either
Yeah,
Georgia
they
gets a good
yeah.
win or to make an excuse to have college game day. They're not a top 15 team. They were number 24, and you continue to rise them in the ranking right before the game for no reason. What did they do?
Yeah, I don't see, like you said 24, them moving 9 spots,
With nothing.
after really beating no
We're
one.
not
Yeah, I think
yeah,
they just wanted to have them in the top 15 and, like, okay,
right,
this is a horse I think that's a historic matchup, Tennessee versus Georgia.
right,
But, like, when both teams are not up to snuff, like South Florida and Miami, it really doesn't make any sense.
right,
So
right,
I hope they pick matchups better for game day coming up in the season. So, yeah.
right. Like, no one's ogling at the fact that you beat East Tennessee State. Like, that's cool, but, very
Right.
stupid, especially when you have a
Right.
great opportunity for a great in-state game, and also all of the stories of South Florida and what they just did in an in-state game. This is a great sequel and a great redemption for Miami not getting game day in week 1. Not that they should have, but continuing to snub them when now there's a great chance to go there is very stupid. Now we got 17 Ole Miss at Kentucky. I picked Kentucky in this one. I going into this week, I had Kentucky and South Florida as my big upsets, and if you watch the video, I only pulled the trigger on Kentucky. I still picked Florida. I regret that. So close to having a perfect week if Arizona State didn't let me down as well, but Kentucky did fine. Ole Miss took care of business though, 30-23. Lane Kiffin's still a great coach. Honestly, Ole Miss they could end up doing great. They were always ranked ahead of Tennessee, so I don't know how Tennessee's now ranked above them for doing nothing. But yeah, impressive win because I mean it's tough. It's a tough win in the SEC with Kentucky. Even though they're not one of those top teams, they're still a decent team.
Right, absolutely. And another thing I want to touch on with Arizona State is I know Mississippi State was unranked, but to put them completely off the rankings
Right.
is I think a little harsh. And yeah, I just think it's just biased to put um, Missouri and Auburn above them because there's no way I would have. And that was just another. It was a close game. I don't think you be that harsh to the Sun Devils to completely throw them off the list. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. And Mississippi State isn't a slouch either. In week 1, they played. I know
Yeah.
maybe in terms of the SEC, maybe, and but in week 1 they played Southern Miss, and I touched on it earlier about Marshall losing their head coach and a lot of their players, and where did they go? Southern Miss, and it was a very interesting in-state game there. And first half was kind of close, but then Mississippi State took care of business, and then they played well this week. Where it's like, it's not that crazy. Where it's like if Alabama loses in horrible fashion to Florida State, they're still ranked. Where it's like
Hmm.
it's a
Yeah.
little ridiculous at times. And they've had a lot of losses with
Right.
Alabama and Florida, so they thought they were slick, sneaking in Auburn and Missouri at the bottom.
I know. I don't understand putting both. I mean, I think Arizona State and Mississippi State should absolutely take those 2 spots.
I know.
Um, yeah,
Honestly, how do you not rank Mississippi State, and how do you end up using it as an
yeah,
excuse to sneak in Auburn and Missouri? Is it because 'cause they're more popular? Like,
right.
Mississippi State hasn't done anything Mississippi State hasn't done anything to not be ranked. they had an impressive win against week
Right.
one against the team that's kind of up and coming with just got a big coach from Marshall where like they were supposed to do decent things this year and they put them away. They put Arizona State away, who was number 11 in the country, but instead Arizona State is completely out. And then you put in two other SEC teams that haven't really done anything. Now Missouri won their rivalry game against Kansas, but you're telling me that's better than a number 11 ranked team? This isn't even hurting the SEC. You're getting Mississippi State in there. What is going on?
I don't know. Yeah, Mississippi State, I think they'll continue to do good this season. And if they stay unranked, I hope that's just more of a chip on their shoulder because they just don't get the respect they deserve. Yeah, it's crazy.
I know it's like yeah, they won. We're gonna use that as an excuse to rank two other SEC teams that haven't done anything. It's like wow, that's not that's dumb.
Right,
Yeah,
right. I know. And yeah, it was getting close down to the wire with Ole Miss and Kentucky. They pulled it out.
right.
Um, I don't have that much faith in Ole Miss. I know Kentucky's a good team, uh,
Yeah,
but yeah, I mean, with Jackson Dart leaving, they don't have that much security at quarterback than they once had. So it'll be interesting to see.
right. 100%. And then we'll move on
Hmm.
to Oregon's game against Oklahoma State. This was disgusting, 69-3.
Ooh,
And
yeah.
Oklahoma State's head coach, Mike Gundy, before like a week or so before the game, had made some comments about Oregon, talking about how like they pay all their players, where he said like Oklahoma State hardly pays them too much. And he had later says that it was like supposed to be a compliment, but Oregon's just gonna use that as fire and just just destroy you absolutely.
Right,
And
right. I mean,
yeah,
like the head coach, is it Dan Lanning?
yes, Dan Lanning. Mhm.
Like the most memorable thing I think is when they faced Colorado that
I
year,
know.
that first year with Dion. Uh, they're playing for clicks. That press conference before the game, and you're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna destroy Colorado.
I know.
And this one, like, you just don't want to say anything before you play Oregon. I don't know what
Right.
he was thinking because he's just gonna use that as fuel for sure. So
Right. I think
yeah,
after
I
the
mean,
yeah,
this
I think after the game,
is
yeah,
absolutely
right.
embarrassing. I mean, a Power 5 school should not lose this bad ever. This is just absolutely unacceptable.
Right. 100%.
I mean, insane. I mean, I don't understand how this even happens. I mean,
Right.
come on, there's gotta be more respect
Right.
for,
Well, yeah, and then
teams like
yeah.
these. Yeah.
Well, Dan Lanning responded. He said, "We pay our players to win." So yeah.
Right. I mean, that was just a
Right.
huge mistake. I mean, even if after all that, like, you couldn't put more than 3 up on the board, I just
Yeah. That's not. This isn't like Arkansas
geez.
Pine Bluff. This isn't East Texas A&M. You are a
No.
Big 12
No.
school. Insane.
Right. This is way worse.
Way worse.
Yeah.
This is a team that
This
was in
I
the
got some
yeah.
serious
This
questions.
is a team that was in the Big 12 championship just like 2 years ago. Ridiculous.
Right. Right.
When they lost to
I
Texas, I
know
believe.
this
Yeah.
ugh,
Gross. Then moving
this
on.
is
Yeah.
it's gonna be
I know.
tough to recover from this. Yeah.
Really disgusting. But I mean, it shows how good Oregon is. And we've been talking about Dante Moore a lot.
Yeah.
He was the UCLA quarterback that transferred over, sat a year behind Dylan Gabriel, and now he's ready to start. And he's been looking good so far.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Next, we'll get into Troy at number 12, Clemson. Clemson was kind of sleepwalking through this game. I think that last week's LSU game wasn't out of their heads quite yet. They ended up getting their head straight and ended up figuring it out and won 27-16. But hopefully that's not a repercussion of things to come, where they really need to figure it out and not pull a Kansas State where they just completely fall apart after losing a close game to a ranked team. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this was tough to watch. I mean, they just could not wake up until
Right,
late in the second half. I mean, I was very like I was wondering, like, are they actually going to drop this game? And I
right,
mean, it takes a while for Clemson to get the ball moving. I mean, especially in that LSU game, they just I don't know. And they played some good teams. I mean, Troy is not that bad of a school. I mean they showed it putting up, I mean, leading, they led for most of the game. So I guess it makes sense why they dropped 4 spots, but a lot of question marks for Clemson this year.
Right. Definitely. And I mean, Clemson, they were supposed to be a really great team. Cade Klubnik, Dabo Sweeney, they were really supposed to, and they haven't done that great. And it was really unfortunate because before the season started, he said that they were the first team to go undefeated and win like the 14 playoff. And he said that they were going to be the first team to go undefeated and win the 12-team playoff. And you just knew the second he said that they were going to immediately lose. And it was funny because
Hmm. Yeah.
they were talking to Brian Kelly in like the press conference at halftime of that LSU game, and he said they said, yeah, his Dabo Sweeney is when up at halftime, it's he's 155-11, and he said it's about to be 155-12.
Yeah. I mean, like if you told me before the season, like Miami and Florida State were going to have a higher ranking than Clemson, I would have thought you were insane. I
Right.
mean,
Yeah.
especially with Clay Complex. I mean, he's already played a year there. I mean, he was great last year. I mean, it's yeah, it's interesting to see that they're kind of like the third best ACC team this year. So yeah,
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I mean, they ended up kind of figuring it out, but I mean, they were struggling, but they did get the win.
yeah, it was wait. They did get the win. It was an ugly win.
Right.
It took a while for them to wake up. Um, but I mean, what is this going to look like when they play like an actual school?
Right.
Like, I mean, they played LSU, but I mean, that was an ugly game too. It's just right.
Right.
Hmm.
And then here was what I think was the game of the week, where you had the South Florida Bulls taking on the Florida Gators, and man, I mean, this is
Hmm.
basically the Florida State of this week, except like it was a lot closer, and it was against a less likely opponent. Because Florida State, they're an ACC team. They've had a history of winning, so people kind of accepted it when they won. Where this one, they're even not accepting it. The AP poll refuses to accept how good this team is. Where you look in retrospect how quick they accepted Florida State, and they're still disrespecting the South Florida Bulls. But they won very impressive by a field goal, 18-16, and Byron Brown, they went into the swamp, which is one of the toughest places to play, and they gutted out a win. They did great, especially the defense, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I heard Nick Saban talking after this game happened, and because the South Florida Bulls, when they played Saban, they almost beat him.
Yeah.
I mean, this defense plays with grit. This defense plays nasty, disgusting. They're gonna take you out behind the shed. Like this, this team is scary, and I mean, if they continue to knock off ranked opponents, I think it's going to be absolute cinema. I mean, and I hope they use this as fuel with getting constantly disrespected by the rankings because they should be, um, I think, just outside the top 10. The fact that they're 18 is
Oh, I know.
crazy. Um,
Right.
like, right. I mean, we've already talked about it a
I
lot,
mean, this is
but
the best resume in college
yeah,
football. So, yeah.
right, right. I mean, Boise State kind of just got ranked because Genty was there last year,
Right. Out
but
of respect. Yeah.
Florida was ranked. Yeah, Florida was ranked really high. I mean, they went in there last second field goal. Byron Bound looked amazing.
Right.
Um, and he's going to be the thumbnail for this video.
Definitely. Well, I mean, deservingly so. And I mean, someone's got to say it. If the AP
Yeah,
polls continue to disrespect them, college game days, disrespecting the team, uh, and I think Miami should be very upset that they're doing that, that the AP poll and that college game day is not going there because you just know
right,
that you're going to get South Florida's best punch and just take everything out on you to kind of show the nation how good they are. Miami's got to be like, man, why are you doing us like this? You know?
right. I mean, with teams like these, you never want to give them anything,
Right.
any ammunition
Hey,
at
same
all.
thing with
I
Oregon.
mean,
Yeah.
we we just talked about Oregon. I mean, and week one with Tulane against Northwestern. Uh, I think Tulane wanted to wear their white jerseys. It was the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, and Nebraska didn't want them to wear their white jerseys. They wanted to wear their white jerseys, and Tulane wear their green jerseys. So the coach kind of saw that as disrespect of the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina, and they absolutely blew out Northwestern. Um, so we talk about these just kind of like when a team feels like they've been slighted, like Oregon there, and then South Florida here with them constantly getting ranked lower. It's very interesting. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, definitely. South
Mhm.
Florida going forward, I'm very optimistic about South Florida. And against Miami, I don't know, it's going to be tricky, but I mean, I just really like the story. And then just with how much they've been disrespected, I'm really pulling for them to do good. But that's the thing is that if they lose close, they might just completely unrank them with how ridiculous they've been doing the rankings lately.
Right. I mean, this following game is kind of a lose lose
I
because
know. Yeah.
whatever team loses is going to get completely disrespected. So I hope it's like,
Right.
I mean, I think it's going to be a close game. I mean, it would be great if um, either team won because both of these teams really
Right.
don't get this good that often, and they have a lot of good talent. But
Yeah.
I hope whatever team
Mhm.
loses, they just bounce back immediately after, and yeah, don't take it badly. So yeah,
Right. And especially who's been in the state has seen the effect of two teams being great. Honestly, I think that's what's so ridiculous is that if Miami loses this, they are going to punish them, and they're probably going to slide them behind Texas, who like that's going to be
yeah,
ridiculous. Where it's like Texas doesn't
right,
have a
right.
quality
And
win like
even if
Miami
it,
does.
like, I think right, and I think Georgia will beat Tennessee, but like that win becomes like kind of like a big win for them, even though that shouldn't be that big of a win because Tennessee
Right.
should be ranked way
Well,
lower.
they've been
So
overinflating
yeah,
that, and you
right,
could even make the argument that Tennessee should be unranked because they were at 24.
right. You could.
There wasn't much justification for them to go up, and even though they're above Alabama now, Alabama of course had that ugly loss against Florida State, but Florida State is now a top 10 team. That's not a terrible loss. Tennessee has played nobody. They were at
Hmm.
24. You could definitely slide them out for Mississippi State. You could definitely slide them out for teams like
For Arizona State,
for Arizona State. Yeah, I mean, I just
yeah,
they really and it's sliding them above Ole Miss.
Oklahoma,
I think what makes this so obvious that they're just rigging this, sliding them above Ole Miss and Texas A&M for no reason. I think that's the biggest thing because
yeah,
that's even SEC teams where you can't even say, "Oh, it's SEC bias," where they're literally just overinflating Tennessee for this game just so Georgia can have a win. Where the SEC, I get it though, because the SEC really needed a win because they continue to
yeah,
drop not only head to heads. LSU kind of saved them in that first week, but so many upsets where Florida and
hmm,
Alabama have dropped, where it's like they really need a team to
right,
get.
and Texas,
Yeah, they really need
yeah,
a team to get a great win, even if it's at the expense of their own conference, which is kind of the only way that they're going to be getting them, maybe other than LSU. So honestly, it's just we keep harping on this, but it's really disgusting. And the way they continue to disrespect
it
teams
is,
that aren't SEC and overinflate teams that are in order for college game day and quality wins. Like, how did they rise that far when they haven't played anybody and they haven't played exceptionally well? Like, who cares that you beat East Tennessee State by 60? Minnesota beat a team by 60. Minnesota. It doesn't matter that much.
yeah, right, right, and that was only like halftime when they're up by 60.
Right.
Like that's
Right.
that's a way more impressive
Hey,
win.
Minnesota's
Yeah.
2-0. Put them ranked at this point, you know?
Right,
Where's
right. I
Rutgers?
know,
Where's
and we were kind of
Maryland?
harping
Yeah.
exactly. We were kind of harping on this last episode too when we were talking about in 2023 when Florida State got when Texas and Alabama got selected over Florida State.
Right.
And this is right back to this, just that SEC bias. So I hope they don't continue to do this for college game day games, just ranking someone way too high
Right.
just so you can have game day there. I don't get that.
Right.
And I hope there's more pushback
I
from
know.
football fans for this because yeah,
Right.
I
Hey,
don't see enough of it. I
right.
want to see more of it.
Right.
So
Yeah, but
yeah,
first 2 weeks, they made the right decision, though. It took them a minute to mess
yeah,
it
they
up.
did.
Yeah. And
It did. It did.
last week being the only ranked
Right. I
matchup in
just
Oklahoma, Michigan, it was gonna be difficult for them to mess that up. Right.
right. Like I hope like next week they don't move Auburn or Missouri 10 spots so just so they can have game day there. So
Right.
uh
They were lucky to even get snuck in the top
right.
25 for having done really
Right.
nothing.
Right. I know.
Right.
It's
Right.
ugh. So you were talking about South Florida game. That was insane. That game.
Right.
So I mean Yeah, they have a hopefully. I mean, it'd be really cool if South Florida kind of runs the gauntlet of these
I
in-state
know. I
matchups.
hope so. But now
Yeah.
they're kind of
Hmm.
scapegoating Florida of their own conference where they have them unranked and they're unjustly not putting South Florida high enough and almost kind of shunning Florida and saying, "Yeah, Florida just played bad. Yeah, Florida's actually just bad." To kind of
Hmm.
make the and it's like
Yeah.
you sometimes you have to hurt, they sacrifice Florida so they could overinflate the rest of them. Crazy.
Right. Right. Right.
Crazy. Scary
Yeah.
hours and
Crazy.
I'm excited when we finally get the CFP ranking because hopefully they do a better job than whatever they've been doing. I mean, somebody, Jack, there was an AP voter. We were just talking about this. Somebody had
Oh
Florida
yeah.
go up 2 spots after losing. It's like, who is voting on this?
Right.
Who is voting on this? It's really disgusting.
Yeah. There's a big coup of SEC people that
Right.
we gotta investigate
Well, they're
for
getting
sure.
more and more
It's
disgusting because their conference is
mhm.
showing less and less success. Where it's like Georgia and LSU are really carrying the conference. I have no problem with LSU. LSU did great, beat Clemson, which maybe Clemson's not the best, but still going on the road. Very tough challenge to do. But Georgia being a team that's done nothing, and then like Tennessee, it's stupid. Like there was
Right.
nothing, and
And
I watched that game against Syracuse. There's nothing that Tennessee has done that would justify them jumping over all of these teams. It's so dumb. It's so dumb. It's so
I
obvious too.
know. I know.
Like,
And I
yeah,
wish like it was not opinion based, these
I know.
rankings.
I
I
know.
wish it was just like fact, like what's your 1%, like kind of like how the NFL does it.
Right? Yeah.
I think the top 25 is, I still think it's cool the way they do it. I just wish it wasn't so like bias heavy and opinion heavy. I don't think we need that because we shouldn't be talking about this.
Right.
This shouldn't be a
Right.
topic of discussion.
Right. We better start.
We should be
Yeah.
talking about how great
Right.
these young men are playing the game of football.
Exactly.
That's what we should be talking about.
We
Yeah.
better start. We better start a series of the real top 25 because they're not giving it to us.
Right.
That's not
Right.
a bad idea
Absolutely.
actually. Because
It
there's
isn't.
too many things you can critique. They're doing such a
Yeah.
bad job. You could really tear a
Next
lot of
up on the
this.
Ben Buzz.
Exactly. Hey, if you guys want it, we'll probably do it anyway. No one really comments anymore. That's fine. It's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Anyways, we had Cal Poly and number 20 Utah. Utah is really scary good. They won 63-9. They've been blowing out everyone they played. They blew out UCLA, and this is very interesting because it's probably going to be Kyle Whittingham's last year coaching. He's been the coach at Utah for a while now. He's only not comparing in terms of longevity, only like with guys like Kirk Ferentz, who's been in it forever. So Utah definitely feeling extra motivated, trying to send their coach into the sunset. And they haven't played too much of difficult competition yet, but they squandered UCLA. For some reason, Utah wasn't ranked in the first week. By the way, very stupid.
Right.
But
And
yeah,
after beating UCLA, they just they just got to 25, so they're barely squeaking in
I
there.
know.
But now they gave them a little bit. But
It's
I
like
would still have
yeah,
them probably where Tennessee
it's
is.
like they're a
Yeah.
few weeks late on their rankings. Where it
Yeah.
takes a few weeks
Yeah.
for a team to make sense where they should have been a few weeks ago. Where it's like okay, yeah. I
Right.
mean, we can keep
Right.
going on and
Hmm.
on because there's just too many critiques you can make. Anyways, uh,
I know. I know.
it's gonna be a 2 hour video. Of just yeah,
Just going through how bad the top
yeah,
25 is. Yeah.
yeah. And then we had SC State taking on number 11 South Carolina. I mean, this was an in-state matchup, so there was certainly a lot of like hype around that, but it didn't really. South Carolina didn't care. 38-10. South Carolina is one of those pretty decent SEC schools that hasn't done anything, but is ahead of an SEC school like Oklahoma for no reason when Oklahoma beat Michigan. But I digress.
Yep. Hmm. Yeah, that's another one for sure that we could. Uh, yeah, I mean, South Carolina, they dropped one after,
Right? Yeah.
and they went below Arizona State, which I liked. But yeah, it's interesting how they have Oklahoma because yeah, I don't trust that. I mean, they beat like number 15 Michigan team, so
Right.
Yeah,
It's just
I mean, we could go on and on,
in
but
comparison, we're waiting for
yeah,
South Carolina to do something, and they ended up being a lot closer
right.
with Virginia Tech than they should have been. But anyways, we had a BCU against number 5 Miami. Miami did pretty good, 45-3. Carson Beck, Mario Cristobal. That's certainly the makings of a good team. Malachi Tony is a star. So Miami looks very solid going into this week 3 matchup, Jack.
Yeah, they definitely do. This is, I think, going to be the best game of the week is Miami versus South
Oh
Florida,
yeah,
not Tennessee, Georgia.
yeah,
I know
no,
that might be a hot take, but
disgusting. Oh yeah, I don't know who would agree with you, Jack.
yeah,
What are you talking about?
scorching, absolutely scorching.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, this is, I mean, Carson Beck looks just amazing. Um, and yeah, he's definitely like up there for the Heisman, I think. And he just keeps getting better and better. Um, but yeah,
Yeah. And then we had Ball State at number 24, Auburn. I mean, Auburn beat Baylor. Baylor made a couple big mistakes in that game. And then Ball State, that's great that you beat them by 40. Purdue won by 30 against Ball State, too, and is 2-0. Rank them, rank Purdue. Anyways, we're moving on.
yeah, moving on,
just,
moving on. We're just gonna keep harping on it.
just rank them all. Sure.
Like the Boilermakers,
Rank the
yeah, yeah,
Boilermakers. Let's stop
yeah.
acting like these games are
Mhm.
impressive. They're doing no better than,
Right,
like we said, Minnesota was up by 60 at half. And nobody
right.
has said
The
anything
Gophers,
about
yeah.
that. So,
Hmm.
anyways. Uh,
Right, right.
right,
Yeah,
right, right.
let's go.
Yeah. Well, it's you can find it in almost every
I
single
know
game.
it grinds your gears. It
Uh,
grinds everyone's gears. I know.
yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
we had Louisiana Tech at number 3 LSU. LSU played a lot differently than I expected. Now, going into that week 1 matchup, I had thought it was going to be more of the same, where the offense was really clicking and the defense was really struggling. Where you remember how Jaden Daniels had to play so incredible just to win a game, and especially against a ranked team, they ended up losing because I mean Jaden Daniels at a certain point he just couldn't do. I mean he couldn't do everything. And so going into this year and
Right.
just about every year, it's like, yeah, we brought new corners in the transfer portal. Oh, they recruited better, whatever it is. It feels like it's the same story with LSU, and nothing ends up improving on the defensive side of the ball. Then last week against Clemson, it did. So I was like, man, with a proven quarterback with Garrett Nussmeier, and the offense is always good, and the defense is good, but maybe we start to worry a little bit about the offense here, which is an interesting change of pace. Where Nussmeier had a pick and a touchdown against Louisiana Tech, and only won by like 24 or not 24, like 14. So very surprising. Didn't expect it to be that close. But LSU, I mean, they have one of the better wins against Clemson, so I don't think they should go down or anything like that. And even though they barely won, I think that's one of the instances where I think the SEC should get some credit because LSU had a great win against Clemson. So even though they didn't have that great of a performance against Louisiana Tech, I think they did enough to uphold their ranking. What do you think, Jack?
Yeah, I mean, this is a lot closer than a lot of people expect, and I kind of referenced this game when I
Right,
was talking about the Georgia Austin PA game. Um, but this was that makes sense because this was an in-state matchup.
right,
Um, and you did say last week that they look like the most complete team.
right.
We didn't see all of that, but I definitely think that should take precedent. And I would even say that they should be ranked higher than Penn State, number two.
Oh, right, yeah.
Um,
Well, what has Penn State done?
'cause
I mean,
no, I mean they haven't. Yeah.
we're not just biased to the other conferences. It's just like, well, at least make it make sense. Where it's like LSU had that great win against Clemson, and maybe Clemson's starting to fall off the wagon a little bit. But you jumped them up from 9-3. What excuses are you making for them to not be able to jump Penn State when Penn State doesn't do anything in big games? They're not scheduling anybody, so they play nobody. LSU scheduled Clemson and won. Like, honestly, I can't wait for it to make sense. Yeah,
Right, right. I know.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, we'll see what LSU keeps looking like, but they keep looking good.
right,
Louisiana Tech is not a bad school,
right,
and it's an in-state matchup, so it would make sense that it's closer. So yeah,
right, yeah. And Louisiana Tech, I mean, they've had good years in the past, and they certainly played with their heart. And as we kind of said, as I said in my predictions last week, there's a surprising amount of like in-state games with like Louisiana Tech, LSU,
hmm
SC State, South Carolina, and then the big one, South Florida and Florida. And even though I didn't pull the trigger on any of those as an upset, I had said I think one of those upset teams will win, and South Florida ended up doing that. Really wish I called that one. I thought about it, but
Right.
yeah, that would have been a great one to
Right.
get. I did get Baylor though, so I'll
Mhm.
take it. Yeah,
Mhm. Mhm. But that one was more. I think a lot of people picked Baylor because they had won 12 times in a row, and now they've won 13 times in a row against SMU. So that was definitely
yeah.
more people would
Well,
expect Baylor to win that game.
they were mad too because of that Auburn game. Yeah,
Right. Right. Exactly. A lot of uncharacteristic mistakes, and I would say look out for Baylor because
right.
they're still a good football team. So yeah.
Right, and Baylor ended up they beat an SMU team that ended up kind of being frauds, at least for where they were ranked. But what I'm kind of confused of is why is Auburn getting credit for other teams' wins? Baylor's the one who beat the ranked team. I know Baylor lost to Auburn, but why does Auburn get the credit for that win and ends up getting bumped up in the top 25 just because that's like a good win now? Um, we're just dishing out wins for games that the teams didn't play. But anyway. We had Louisiana
Hmm.
Monroe at number 19 Alabama. Now this was a huge game for Alabama. Really huge prove it game for Kalen
Yep.
DeBoer, Ryan Williams, Ty Simpson, everybody on that team. Because I kind of touched on this in my Hawkeye State of Mind episode 2 video where I kind of touched on how a team responds to a loss is so important. Where you look at Clemson and Kansas State, the way that Clemson kind of struggled, the way that Kansas State struggled against an FCS school, had to put up 38 points just to win, and then lost to
Mhm.
Army. They fell off the wagon. And then you look at a team like Baylor and how they responded and put up 45 points, won in double overtime against a ranked opponent. And Alabama definitely responded in a great way. And they put up 73 points, 73-0. And I know it's Louisiana Monroe, so obviously that's not a quality opponent. But when you put up 73, you say, you know what? It's not that we win. It's about how we win and how we respond and just how much of a statement we're making that we're still here. And Alabama definitely did that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the they were going to burn that whole state down if they didn't win this game by a large margin, and they did. So, and that Florida State loss keeps looking better and better, but I would still give Alabama a lot of crap for that.
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, this was a must-win game. I mean, and I still am not. I have a lot of doubts about Alabama still
Right.
because
Yeah.
their only game where they really played someone or someone who we didn't think was someone, but now we know is someone. They got smoked. So yeah.
Yeah, and Alabama's a team that I think might still be better than Tennessee, but after Tennessee loses, they'll just plop them right back down to 24 and then continue to slide Alabama up like nothing happened. Anyways, we had number 23
Hmm.
Michigan at 13 Oklahoma. This was the big game of the week, the only ranked matchup actually, and both teams didn't do too bad. Michigan was fielding their freshman QB in Underwood, so it didn't go that great. But we touched on this in week 1 where we need to temper these expectations for these freshman guys, especially going into road environments. And I know Arch wasn't a freshman, but it was his first real start against a great Ohio State team. Ended up not going his way. CJ Carr, his first start was on the road at Miami against ended up being a very
Hmm.
complete, great Miami team. And he ended up figuring it out down the line, but he struggled for most of that game. And that's kind of what we saw in this game where Bryce Underwood was a huge, highly touted recruit, 5-star. I believe he's making like 10 million a year, something ridiculous. But they had to throw some cheddar his way so they would come on the team. That's just college football now. It's whatever. But
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah, that's NAL. That's NAL for sure. That's just the world we live in. Hmm.
and I mean, if you gotta get those players to come to your team somehow. So and across the board, that's kind of what's happening. It's kind of what the
Hmm.
league is going towards, but it didn't end up paying off in this one. But I mean, that's a great Oklahoma Sooners team at home. Like, very very tough one, and especially for a freshman QB going in there in his first road environment. He played at home against New Mexico, but even that, like, he didn't do the best. But it was New Mexico, so he did enough to win, obviously, and it was at home. But I don't think he was ready for this type of test. And I think Michigan could end up climbing back in the rankings eventually. But I think they needed this reality check to be like, okay, we need to really lock in on our quarterback more. We need to make more changes. And I think Michigan's definitely going to climb back up there, but I think they just weren't ready for this road test quite yet,
Yeah,
Jack.
I mean, we knew this was going to be tough for this first year quarterback for Michigan. Um, and it was tough. I mean, we now know that Oklahoma is
Mhm.
definitely way better than we would have thought, and they got ranked pretty low for this game. They were only 18. But yeah, they completely controlled the game, and it was
Right.
kind of rough out there. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, very impressive win, and the most deserving SEC team that kind of went up the ranks, definitely for good reason. And Oklahoma, I mean,
right,
and it wasn't
yeah,
just that they went up 5 spots because it was in the wake of going ahead of Michigan, Arizona State falling off the face of the earth. Oklahoma, I'd still argue they're
mhm,
too low. They're still kind of behind teams that are still unproven, but I think as the weeks pass, I'm hoping it gets a little it makes a little more sense because I feel like overall the rankings, like I feel like a lot of the teams are correct except when you get to like the tail end, it's just like, oh, that team should be above or they should be. But I think as we
mhm,
get more into the season, as we see more and more from these teams, because there's a lot of speculation too, especially with like teams like Auburn and Missouri
right,
that haven't really played any top tier teams or like anything uh in that regard, where it's like, oh, they're already getting ranked. Like, I don't know. Uh I am interested in the top 25 because I check it every week, and every week, like, I don't know, it's just kind of disappointed with the results. And hearing that an AP voter put Florida up 2 points after losing, like, I 100% believe that. I didn't think for a second, no way, no, that's fake. Like,
mhm,
I'll believe they'll do anything at
right,
this point, Jack.
right, right. I know they are kind of putting SEC teams just for there to be one
Right,
because this has definitely not been the
right,
SEC's year. Um, and right, I know it's, and I was surprised by um South Carolina being that high
right,
when they really haven't beat anyone either. And obviously, we've talked a number of times about Tennessee.
right,
But yeah, I hope that doesn't happen. I hope it evens out more as we know who the proven teams are, and more teams who are still undefeated now or get more
right.
respected.
Right.
Right. So
I think
yeah.
they're still kind of nursing the wounds as well of the Big Ten finally kind of having a better year than them, which they weren't ready for. Where Illinois beat South Carolina in their bowl game, Michigan beat Alabama in their bowl game, Ohio State won it all, Penn State was in the Final Four, where that was definitely a year that was lacking for the SEC,
Right.
and a year where they were actually doing
Right.
pretty solid throughout until it got to like the last few. Like the SEC was solid this year, where it seems this year they're kind of trying to pretend that they're still at that level and they're just not. And it feels like sliding in Auburn and Missouri is such a cop out because now they can still say, well, the SEC has the most ranked teams in college football. It's like, well, yeah, it's like not that impressive when you look at the teams that are. And LSU is doing pretty good. Georgia's at 6, and then Texas at 7. We're still waiting on Georgia and Texas to beat someone, and I know we're still waiting on Oregon as well. So there's a lot of prove it teams on here. And we're still pretty early in it.
Hmm. And
Penn State,
Penn State.
100%. Honestly, Penn State should be at 3. Like, I don't
Yeah.
understand. I would honestly
Right.
I would
That's
probably
what I was
put Penn
saying.
State
Yeah.
at 5, actually. I think you can make an argument that you can continue to slide them down. Um, and I don't hate Penn State.
Right. I think so too. I mean,
Right.
they play Oregon in the coming games, is what I mean. But as you're saying, kind of SEC talk. The last 2 years, I mean, SEC hasn't even been in the national champion. It was Washington, Michigan, and it was Ohio
Yeah.
State, Notre Dame. So they haven't even made it there since the
Right.
TCU Georgia game. So it's definitely been a
Right.
minute since SEC has been like the king. So I think it's definitely inviting, and I
Right.
actually welcome this, and I hope it I hope it keeps happening. So.
Right. Yeah,
Mhm.
100%. And they kind of deserve it as well.
Because I think a lot of people who have SEC bias think that college football is better when they're better, and I don't necessarily think that.
I think it revolves around them for sure.
Right,
Yeah.
right. I think it I don't think college football needs to be good when they're good. I think they can have some bad years. Like every conference has bad years, and I think this might be their time that they're just not having a great year. Um, so,
right?
and I think that's
And
okay.
especially the disrespect going into it.
Right.
Yeah. And the disrespect going into it, they were trying to downplay Ohio State by sneaking Penn State above them. That was
Hmm.
ridiculous. When was the last time Penn State even won that matchup? When was the last time that they won against opponent that was of their same caliber? Like we're not Big 10 biased or Big 12 biased or anything. We're just college football biased where it's
Right.
like, what do you mean? A lot
Right.
of these,
Hmm. No, yeah, I
right?
completely agree.
And I mean, yeah, yeah. And I mean, a team like Iowa State has one of the best record of the ranked teams. They did play in week 0, obviously, but a ranked win against Kansas State that unfortunately does look worse week after week. Kansas State is really on a bender after that game,
I
Jack.
know for sure. I mean, barely beating that FCS school, and then losing to Army. So yeah, I would say Iowa State um, doesn't look as good as I thought they did 3 weeks in
Right,
because the teams they've beaten. I mean they beat Kansas
right,
State, an FCS school, and then us, Iowa, which all those aren't that great of wins. So we'll see if he keeps going because Iowa's defense is great. Um, but I still think the Cyclones are a team to look out for sure.
right. Yeah, I definitely agree. And I mean, winning that Iowa game is so huge because that game usually feels like a coin flip, and they ended up figuring it out. And one of the more random AP fumbles was Indiana's at 23. They were at 20 to start the year. And purely because they didn't blow out Old Dominion by 50, they only won by like 23 or something like that. They dropped 3 spots to 23. Alabama drops all the way to 21 after that Florida State loss, deservingly so, dropping 13 spots. But then you look
Mhm.
a week later
Right.
where Alabama has an impressive win, won by 70. All of a sudden, they rise 2 spots back into the top 20 at 19. Indiana does the same and only goes up to 22. They were just at 20. We dropped them 3 spots for pretty much no reason, just because they didn't blow out a team as much as they were supposed to. And then we're only rising them up back one. And then all of a sudden, we're
Right.
putting Alabama back in the top 20. Like, stop it. Stop it. What do you mean?
Right. I mean, I kind of get this one a little more because that Florida State loss looks so much better
Right.
now that they're a top 10 team. So I think that was kind of their justification. I mean, I guess they're kind of saying like Indiana going 2-0 is worse than a 1-1 Alabama team that has a better loss, I guess. Um, I guess that's where they're coming from. I would still put Indiana
Yeah.
above
Well, I mean, the
Alabama.
record is huge. They're still 2-0, and Alabama's 1-1. Obviously, I get the Florida State thing, but if you watch that game, they really weren't in it. The few points that they had were pure luck off of
Right.
like I think it was like a punt, like turnover. Very, like very fluky that they were even in it actually, which is crazy. And Indiana, a team that's kind of blown out everybody. Where if it's so impressive to blow out Ball State as Auburn did, like I don't know. Indiana, I mean, they beat a team by 50 last week, and they went up 1 spot. Alabama beats a team also very bad by 70, then they're back in the top 20, up 2 spots. I don't know. The only justification I can think of is that Florida State's actually legit. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah,
Right.
it's like well, if they were at
No, I agree. I think they should have
right,
rose, but not this
right, but if
high.
it's like yeah,
So I get
well,
what
if
you're
it's like
saying.
they had him at number 20 originally, like at the very start of the season, Indiana was number 20. And so dropping them that far because they beat
Mhm.
Old Dominion 27-14, it's like, okay, you drop them 3 spots for that, but then they get back and then win a game by 50 and they only go up by one. It's like you just said they were a top 20 team in the nation, and now just because they only beat a team by what is it, 13? But then it really doesn't make sense because then if you look at college football how it went overall, LSU beat a team 23-7 and didn't move at all. And I get that they have that impressive win, but it's like that's just another like side of the rankings where it's like, well, I mean, in other places you don't care when a team wins an ugly one against a team that maybe they should. But then in other places, you choose to care so much, even if it makes sense. Well, then it's like, well, why aren't you applying that all across the board? You know, Jack?
No, yeah, I absolutely agree. I mean, um,
Right.
with Arizona State, I mentioned earlier that Mississippi State loss looks. I mean, it's going to keep looking better and better, and I hope they put them back in. Um, but yeah, I mean, we've harped on it a lot in this episode about
Right.
the SEC bias,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Well, it hasn't. Well, it hasn't been this egregious because I think
right.
it's just been a really down year. It's been a really down year for the SEC, and they're refusing to admit it. I think
Mhm.
that's the biggest problem that we're running into. Yeah.
Right. I think the most egregious is Tennessee, but yeah. Hmm.
Yeah.
Um,
Just
yeah.
casually sliding them up. They
Right.
went up 7 spots, Jack.
Right.
For what?
Right. Right.
For
I
what?
know. I know. I'm with
7
you. I'm
spots.
totally with you.
7 spots is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know,
Hmm.
Jack.
Um, is there any games we didn't cover yet?
I think we pretty much covered it. Yeah, I mean, we could talk more about Mississippi State and Arizona State. Somehow neither of those teams are ranked. That's real
Right.
smart.
I would say
Yeah.
Mississippi State, Arizona State, and Minnesota could be ranked for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, when you look at the Big 10, like they have a lot of teams where it's like similar to the SEC with Auburn and Missouri, where it's like you have Maryland, Michigan State, Minnesota, and Nebraska could be good with Dylan Raiola second year. Rutgers, USC, and Washington are really dark horse too because they're on the rebound after their first year, and also Wisconsin is 2-0, where it's like there's a lot of these teams that are 2-0, and I'm not necessarily justifying, like I'm not saying any of these teams necessarily should be ranked, right? But it's just disrespectful when you're throwing in two teams that are 2-0 from the SEC purely because they're from the SEC. I think that's where the problem really
Right.
is.
I think you could like putting Alabama in the top 20 because their loss looks better. You could say the same thing if you put Iowa in the top 25 because that Iowa State loss looks better. Like that wouldn't make any sense. I mean,
That's a pretty good loss.
I know
Rank
I
them,
know.
rank them,
Rank them. Exactly.
rank them, Jack.
Right.
Yep, exactly.
But yeah, I
Yeah, I
mean,
love. Yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. Well, I mean, you go into yeah, and I mean, like we were saying, Auburn just beat Ball State by 39. Well, Purdue beat them by 31. Rank them.
Right. Right. And we said
All right, they're in. Yeah, Baylor. Yeah,
Baylor lost to Auburn.
yeah,
And that's looks like a good loss too. So I don't know.
yeah.
It's tough.
Well, it's just
It's tough.
Auburn's. Yeah, it's just they're giving Auburn credit for a game that they didn't win in Baylor SMU. So
Right. Right.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I know.
But
I
then,
know.
yeah, Jack. But then you think if Baylor had beaten Auburn and then beaten SMU, would they get this much credit? I
No,
don't
I
know.
don't think so.
And especially, hey, think about if Auburn had a win, a ranked win over number 16 SMU. Think about how high they would jump, Jack.
They would probably be around where Oklahoma is or South Carolina. They'd be high for sure.
Right? That's around where South Florida should be. But yeah,
But they're behind Tennessee for some reason.
right. Yeah, we've definitely harped on it a lot, but this is the first week. I think
We have. We
this is
have.
the first week where I think it's been
Right.
truly preposterous. Yeah.
I know. I know. And I could see you're really hot about this topic.
Yeah, well, they like the first week it's like Alabama lost. Okay, we'll drop them down to 23 and then they put Florida State up like all the way at number 14. It's like, okay, that makes sense. But then the next week it's like Florida State yeah, number 10 and they're sneaking Alabama back up. Where then the other one where it's like Florida drops out after that loss and then you don't give South Florida enough credit beyond that, where it's like they're like, yeah, actually, Florida's just not that great. We're not going to rank them. No votes. They're just gone in the shadow realm, just as an excuse to have Tennessee, Ole Miss, and Texas A&M above South Florida.
Right. Same thing with the Sun Devils. Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I don't know, and it's so weird because Tennessee did nothing to deserve to go up 7 spots. It's just so obvious
Right.
because they're gearing up for that Georgia game this week. It's like Oh, I get
Hmm.
like they should have had him ranked higher, so it wasn't so ridiculously obvious. You know,
Right, right. I know.
like
I
really,
hope
yeah,
more people notice it and call it out, and I hope it doesn't happen
right.
more this year.
Well, get this,
Because
this, yeah,
this I will agree. This one was the most egregious
right,
because any other any other week, any other team moving 7 spots after you've played no ranked teams that doesn't make any sense.
right,
So
yeah.
yeah, what were you about to say?
Well, I think I see another layer to this because if Georgia were to beat a number 24 Tennessee team, they would have to drop them out shortly, right? But if they slide
Hmm.
them all the way up to 15, then when Georgia beats them, not only is it a top 15 win for Georgia, great for their resume, but then they can excuse Tennessee. They're like, yeah, we'll drop them 4 spots. Now they're at 24. Now they're at 23. And it's like, yeah, but that's where they should have already been. So you're just making excuses to keep them in.
Right. I know.
Yeah. Well, because they just
I
want they
know.
want to see like when you look at like the rankings where it says like down 8, so you're like, oh, like they got punished for that loss. It's like, well, they inflated where they were so that the loss was yeah, so that
Yeah.
yeah, it's really it's just they're not trying to hide it. And I feel like maybe like
I
it
know.
always feels like they're
I
hiding
know.
it because the SEC is usually doing pretty good at this point in the year. But it's just getting atrocious week after week, and it kind of makes me wanna, like, root against a lot of these SEC teams, and especially root for South Florida for the disrespect, but then they're gonna just grill Miami for it and put them lower than Texas. Like yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
That's what I'm worried about, where it's like,
Right.
it's a lose-lose for both of them. Because if they like,
I
if
know.
Miami wins, are they gonna give them the credit and put them above a team like, Penn State or, like, Oregon or anything? Or are they just gonna be
No.
like, "Yeah, they're at the spot where they
No.
need to." But then if they lose, they're gonna take them out of the top 10, they're gonna put them so low because they didn't respect South Florida, and if South Florida loses, I bet they're unranked. I bet they're unranked.
Oh, I think they absolutely will be unranked. Yeah. Even though they're the only team to win against two ranked opponents. I mean,
Right.
yeah, there's no way. There's no way they would put him in the top 25. Yeah. I mean, it's if they're putting him that this low already, then a loss, they're definitely out. So, yeah.
Right, and with a win, do they even move South Florida? I would hope so.
I would think there's no way they're putting him above 14.
Right. Well, if you're looking at the rankings, in terms of like the voting, South Florida got 444 votes at 18. Right above them, Ole Miss, who hasn't like played anybody, right? They have 518. It's like the separation of just one spot. They were so far away.
Yeah. Mhm. I know. I mean, what more does South Florida have to do? And if they win this, they better put him higher. So
Yeah, because if an SEC
yeah.
team went in there in the swamp and beat Florida like that, like it was going to be crazy. And if Florida ended up winning long enough to get to their gauntlet of an SEC schedule, that would have happened. Where one of those teams would have
Mhm.
like jumped way in the rankings, like yeah, well they beat
Right.
Florida. It's like, well, where's the same respect when it doesn't matter what conference beat them. Where's the respect when a team from the American does it? Like, yeah, it's honestly, yeah.
Right. Right. I know this. I kind of brought this up when I was texting you earlier, but when UCF got when they had that awesome season
Hmm.
and got left out of the college football playoff, we
Right.
kind of teams like that just kind of get disrespected because of their conference. But yeah.
Yeah, it happens. So
Hmm.
yeah, Tennessee's probably gonna lose, and then they're just gonna send them right back to 24 where they were before. Um, yeah, I think the
Right.
biggest possible upset, we're gonna have another Big Ten SEC game next week. They've only had one head to head so far, I believe. No, two actually. They're 1-1 so far. Ohio State got that first one, and then Michigan lost that one to Oklahoma.
Hmm.
But Miss Wisconsin on the
Hmm.
road at number 19 Alabama. This is honestly going to be a huge decider for everything that they've been doing with the rankings with the SEC. Where it's like if Wisconsin is to win that game,
Right.
not only are they going to be ranked, but if they're gonna be forced to unrank Alabama, and then like maybe a lot of
Oh,
these
I
other
would.
SEC teams start to get less inflated, where it's like, man, that could be crazy if that happens, Jack.
I'm I'm cheering hard for the Badgers this week. I
I
know
know,
big rivalry with the Hawkeyes with the
I
Badgers,
know.
but Even though I know there's a lot of I know we're Hawkeye fans. I don't know if people know that,
Right.
but
Yeah.
I think people do know that. But even like last year, I know um, Ohio State winning. I know like we were definitely like glad that they won over another conference because it makes us look even better that we're even in that conference. So
Yeah, well, our dad wasn't. He can't stand Ohio
yeah,
State. But yeah.
right. But when they're
Right.
and then what when they win a national championship, it makes us look even better. So
Right. Yeah.
yeah, definitely cheering hard for the Badgers and for South Florida. hmm
Right.
So
Because they're
yeah,
not. Because if they were to win this game, they're not just playing for the Big Ten. They're playing for the Big 12, the ACC, the AAC, to get their proper respect.
right. That's yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah, and if they lose this game, it's not like they're supposed to. It's not like they're ranked. It's not like and Alabama obviously being ranked themselves, and even Alabama's not doing too hot. But that Florida State game, it does look pretty good. It is a solid loss. So I get that they're kind of moving them slowly back up, but they weren't even in that game. But yeah, this is the thing where
Mhm.
Wisconsin has nothing to lose because they're not supposed to win this game. But everything that's going to happen if Wisconsin were to win, like, oh my gosh. So huge, huge game where the Big Ten, like, they really don't have anything to lose in this game because they're not really supposed to win anyway. Where it's like if Wisconsin can go in there and do the unthinkable, like, I don't know. It would on like, oh, the SEC would be so fuming. And that would probably end up knocking out Auburn and Missouri because if you sneak Wisconsin in there, then we'll see. But that
Right.
that's definitely the Florida State of this week or the USF of this week, where it's like that's like the big one. Where that like if we have a big SEC team go down to really shake up the rankings 3 weeks in a row, that'll be pretty interesting. We already have Tennessee and Georgia, so one of those teams is going to fall by a lot. I wonder.
hmm
I wonder if Georgia loses. Maybe also they want to put Tennessee higher just in case their darling Georgia loses. That's a good theory as well. But yeah,
Oh yeah, if Georgia loses, Tennessee's going like. I mean, if Tennessee wins, then they would absolutely shut us up for talking so badly about Tennessee being ranked so high
right.
because they beat number 6 Georgia.
Right. Well, now I'm opening the
So
door for the other side where they're saying they're putting Tennessee up higher so that in the event that Georgia loses, it doesn't look like a bad loss and they don't penalize them so much. That's possible too.
right, I still see no way that the Volunteers win. But I was also going to point out this another matchup with Georgia Tech and Clemson.
Right? Yeah.
This would be another upset pick that would I would like kind of be concerned with Clemson here because that
Yep.
matchup with Troy and Georgia Tech is undefeated this year.
Right. Georgia Tech
And they're a
sneaky.
good they're
They're,
a good
they're
school.
Georgia Tech is sneaky.
They are.
Yeah.
They
They
are.
beat
They could
yeah.
I mean they beat Miami.
Oh, that was a great
Um
game. Yeah.
I could there was. I could absolutely see them winning this game. So that's an upset
And
pick for sure.
then last year one of the
Um
few times where a season they ended a season in week 1 when they beat Florida State in Ireland.
right. Right. Yeah, they definitely get some games, some wins where you would not
Yeah.
have picked them,
And then what
but
was it like?
they're an
Yeah,
interesting team.
what was it like? 6 overtimes, and they went with Georgia last year or the year before, or whatever it was. Man,
Right. Right. And they almost won that game.
yeah,
Yeah, that was a good game.
yeah,
I could absolutely see them winning that game, especially with how kind of shaky Clemson has been.
right.
So yeah.
Yep. And we definitely have our gripes with the top 25, but this was definitely a solid week for games. And Michigan and Oklahoma was definitely pretty solid, but just games across the board, and especially South Florida that we were very hyped for. Where even though we don't really feel like what happened on the field is reflected in the rankings, we certainly had a lot of good games this far, and I'm really excited for the rest of the season as it goes on, Jack.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this week was definitely not as like competitive and with as many ranked matchups as week 1 was, but still a very
Right?
entertaining week and a lot of storylines going on and a lot of stuff to talk about. So I think week 3 should be a lot more interesting week, and hopefully they get the top 25 a little more correct, and we'll be more happy with it. But yeah, still a great week and a lot of good stuff. But Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
definitely agree. And yeah, 2 weeks in the books, and the year has been going pretty great so far. And we hope it gets reflected more in the top 25, who like the best teams are. I'm thinking eventually they'll get it figured out a few weeks later, but we'll see. But the games have not disappointed so far. We're certainly in the running for a great college football season. I feel like college football has been getting better year after year, and the 12-team playoff is only improving, and we're getting better and better games. I'm very excited for this next season. Thanks for joining the program, Jack.
Yeah, 100%. Uh, ready to come on anytime. I don't know if this is a thing well beyond every week to talk college football, but yeah. Hmm.
All right. Yeah, definitely. And I'll have another college football video coming out later in the week where I'll do my predictions with a brand new segment. More on that in a few days. This is the Ben Buzz starring Benny King. Thanks for tuning in.